Hi everybody, I wanted to give you a quick overview of what I expect for your final project for DBA 110. As you can see, it has been loaded into the course in the course content section of your course. So if you want to see the directions for the final project full screen, remember you can just click the little full screen icon and they will open up in a separate tab or window for you so you have the whole page to look at them on. You can see that this project is pretty open. Basically, you are going to plan, design, and create your own database. So what I wanted to do in this video was give you a little bit more detail in what the project needs to be and also give you some ideas if you just have no clue what topic to choose for your final project. So you are going to need to choose a topic that you can use and you are going to create your own database from scratch. And as you are entering that planning phase of creating your database, you need to make sure to come up with a problem statement, a project strategy, project objectives, as well as deliverables. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's say that I work somewhere where we have a whole lot of books, and maybe everybody has a bookshelf in their office, and we need to know what kind of books we have here in our offices so that we can loan them out to students. Well, my problem statement might be something like, everyone that is faculty has books on bookshelves, but we don't know who has which books are duplicates, or which books are too old and not usable anymore, that kind of thing. So I could write that in a couple sentences as my problem statement, and then my project strategy would be that I'm going to create a database that houses tables that keep the information of which instructors have books in their offices and which books are actually in the instructors' offices, where they're located, and all of that. The objectives are going to be the main things that you hope to accomplish through your database. So you'll want to think of probably at least 2 to 3 specific objectives that will be accomplished by creating your database. And then your deliverable will be what you're actually going to come up with. So if I'm creating a database, then of course the actual Access database is one deliverable, but if I'm creating a database for my job and I expect other users to use this database, then another deliverable that I need to list might be training for the users who are going to have to input information or pull reports from this database. Now, are you actually going to have to perform that training for this project? No, but you're just going to list it as one of those things that would be needed if you were actually creating this for, somebody else to use. So you can fill all of that in here on this Word document. Just download it and then fill it in. And then you will move on to part 2, which is actually designing your database. So once you kind of come up with your beginning plan and what your database is going to represent, you want to start thinking about what objects you will include in your database. So what tables will you have? How many tables will you have? What fields will be in those tables? What kind of queries will you pull? What about reports or forms? All of those things, and then also think about what relationships those objects within your database or fields within tables might have. And how you present part 2 might be a little bit different just depending on what your learning style is like. Some of you might type up a couple paragraphs that describe the design of your database, which is absolutely fine, while others of you might decide to actually kind of graph this out and make sort of a graphic organizer or draw out, tables that you fill in, which is fine as well. However you want to present it is fine as long as you do describe your design. You can see that that is worth 25 points. And then finally, you are actually going to create your database. So based on your plan and your design, create your database in Access. For purposes of this project, you need to make sure that you include at least 2 tables. You might have more. Each table needs to have a defined primary key and be assigned the appropriate properties in your fields. So when I open up your database and I go into design view for each of your tables, I shouldn't see that every field is just set to the default short text 255 25 characters. I should see that you put some thought into what the appropriate properties for each of those fields in your table should be. I would like for you to have 30 records. If you can't come up with 30 records, then make sure to send me a message. Let me know what your thought process is. And if it's a database that doesn't require 30 records, then we can talk about that. I want you to write at least 3 queries. You can do that from Query Design View or write them in SQL as long as 3 queries are created and saved, 1 form, and 1 report. And then once you finish, you are going to submit both whatever you answer parts 1 and part 2 on, so that might be this Word document or a separate Word document, as well as your actual database. This is due by the due date that is set in Blackboard, and it is set up so that you can submit as many times as you need to. So if you finish parts 1 and 2 and you want to go ahead and submit that, then you can go in and click Browse, of course, and submit that, and then you can come back later on and submit your actual database. Just make sure that it is submitted by the due date that is set here in Blackboard for you. And if you have any questions, let me know.